scrapbooking process video for you. I am working with a bunch of papers and embellishments that were sent to me by Cheeky Studio. I am their June guest designer, and I do have a code that you can use when you purchase items from them. Stick around to the end of the video to grab that code and get a little bit of a discount when you purchase things from them. All right, so I started out by fussy cutting a bunch of stuff, and so I do a lot of fussy cutting in this video, so I try to speed that up because it's kind of boring to watch. I started with that pink paper, and I fussy cut a bunch of flowers out of it, and now I'm working with this green paper. This was such a beautiful paper, and I was going to use it as a background, but I decided to use a white background with those pink flowers, and so I'm just going to use the green as a border. I'm also going to use the other side. This is the other side of that green paper, and I'm going to cut a few flower clusters out of here to add to my pink ones that I've already fussy cut. I cut 3 of them out, I think, of this paper. And I'm going to go ahead and cut off the parts of the clusters that make it look a little more fall. If you watched my unboxing video, and I'll link that here to this video so you can see that if you didn't get a chance, I talked about how a lot of the papers that they sent me and embellishments that were sent to me were beautiful. They're very beautiful, but they're also very fall. And so since they looked pretty fall and we're not in the fall season right now, my challenge to myself was to use these papers and embellishments on layouts that aren't autumn or fall, that are more for spring or summer. And so that's what I'm doing with this layout. So I do a lot of fussy cutting because I started with those flowers and they don't have a white border around the outside of them. And so I'm even fussy cutting some of the die cuts that I end up using in the sense that I'm just cutting the white border off so that it doesn't stand out, so that it looks a little bit more cohesive. So right now what I'm doing is I'm working on looking through the die cuts, looking at those pattern papers, so I can create some balanced clusters to go around my photo and around the page. I didn't start with an idea for design for this layout at all. I just started with the papers, specifically that pink paper. And so it really stood out to me as something that was really pretty, and I wanted to use it, and I wanted to fussy cut those pink flowers out. So that's what I ended up doing. And now that I've kind of got quite a few of them, I just put them into clusters and decided I really like the way they look. And so I'm going to glue these flowers to themselves and the leaves to themselves because I haven't completely committed on exactly where they're going to go, but now it will just be easier to move them kind of as one unit. I can move them off the page and back on the page and move them around the page to determine where I want those clusters to end up being ultimately. So if you are someone that watches my videos frequently, you will know that I typically do put a little tissue paper behind my photo. I feel like it just softens the edges a little bit, and it also makes that photo stand out a little bit more. And really ultimately, although I love all the pretty papers and things, it's about the story and the photo for me. And so I want that photo to not get lost in my backgrounds. Off camera, I glued those clusters down, and I really wish that my camera had not been shut off. I thought it was still on, and but unfortunately I glued those down. I did add some, I was trying to show you there that I did add some tangled thread behind some of the clusters, and I typically do that as well. I'm kind of addicted to thread. And then I found in my stash these 2 different alphas that really fit the color scheme of this layout. And so I used those. It says Ribbon Dancer. And now I'm trying to, my title just looks like it's laying out there and there's nothing to ground it. So I'm trying to find some flowers or different things that I could put on or around my my title, to make it not look like it's just hanging out there in space. So I end up fussy cutting this flower here from that big cluster that was in a die cut. Then I cut it in half and I create almost like a little flower banner that goes underneath the word dancer. And I really like how that looks. It's not quite finished yet for me. I still feel like I needed to add a few little things. And one of the things that I felt like I needed were some of the smaller pink flowers and a little bit more green. So I found these green flowers, and I love that it has the darker green in it as well. I just feel like that adding those flowers and then this red one really tied it all together. It's really not a red, I guess. It's more of a pink fuchsia color. And I really like the way that worked. So some of my flowers, you'll see I did just glue right down to the page, and some of them I used a bit of um, pop dots to put underneath them just to give them a little bit more dimension. And then off camera, I typed up, just using my typewriter, my journaling. It says, if there is an opportunity to dance, you take it. I hope you always dance. And I'm just going to put those strips down there. And now I've got another problem because now my strips look like my journaling strips just look like they're hanging out there in outer space. And so I'm going to use a few more florals to make that be a little bit more cohesive. So I start with this pop dot. I used a pop dot to pop this one up off the page, but it's not working for me. So I end up finding, just sitting there on my desk, the other half of that pink flower that I cut in half. There it is right there. And I'm just going to add that below, and I really like the way that looks. And then last but not least, I often put butterflies on my page, and I just ended up, there are butterflies in this collection, but I wanted something kind of small that didn't stand out. I wanted more of the flowers to take the stage. My daughter has a special connection with butterflies. That video I have linked there if you want to hear more about that story. I always try to put a butterfly or two, or in this case 3, on the page because it's just something that I try to do. So for more information, you can watch that video. But then I added one last flower and I was all done. So thanks a lot for stopping by. If you like this video, check out some of my other videos. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I will respond to those. Thanks to Cheeky Studio for letting me be their guest this month. And here is a code for you to use when you shop with them. Thanks a lot. Bye.